Hi everyone! Since it's summer, I thought it'd be fun to share some of my summer book recommendations depending on what kind of mood you're in. So, whether you're looking for a romance, a thriller, or even fantasy, I've got you covered. So, let's get started. If you want a fun romance, I'd go with Funny Story by Emily Henry. The story follows Daphne, whose fiance leaves her for his childhood best friend. And to make things worse, Daphne ends up moving in with Miles, who's the ex boyfriend of that best friend. It's definitely not the most conventional way to meet someone, but okay. It's actually my favorite Emily Henry book. Miles is literally the type of guy that I would fall for. But I also loved the roommates to lovers dynamic. I loved the chemistry between Daphne and Miles. And more than anything, I really loved the small town setting. I know, like, a small town setting is a very common thing in romance books, but this one in particular just felt so like cozy and healing to me. I loved the little town in this book. Overall, it's just such a great romance and a summer read, so I definitely recommend it. Now, if you want something that's still romantic but a bit more emotional, I can definitely recommend Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Don't let the cover or the title fool you into thinking it's some like fluffy, cute summer romance. I mean, in a way it is, but also it deals with a lot of like heavy topics. But I think Abby Jimenez is very skilled at balancing humor with like heavier topics in her books, and this one does it very well. It has plenty of cute moments, but also talks about family trauma, mental health, so it's very thought-provoking as well. But even though this book deals with some like serious topics, it still left me feeling like happy and hopeful by the end of it. I think it's definitely the type of book that is good to read during the summer. Now, if you still want a romance, but something that's a bit more magical and whimsical, then I think you should check out Ashley Poston's latest release, The Someday Garden. The main character, Sophie, is a gardener who takes a temporary job at Lillimore House, which is a beautiful but slightly neglected estate in coastal Maine. And well, her job is basically to bring the gardens and everything back to life. So while working, she discovers a strange door that also never appears twice in the same place. Like it always changes where it appears. When she goes through it, she finds an unfinished garden and a weird man that is trapped there. The reason why I think it's a great summer read is because of the setting. I mean, the gardens, feel very magical and full of secrets, but also very warm and inviting. And it made me want to actually go and explore the gardens myself and every hidden corner or whatever. I also really loved friendships in this book, maybe even a bit more than the romance itself. There's also a very fun detail about this book, and it's basically that each chapter contains some word from a different language that's like difficult or impossible to translate. I thought that it was such a very fun and unusual addition to the book. And like you can just really learn lots of random words because Harriet's best friend actually had a little notebook with the list of all these words. Words are impossible to translate. And honestly made me want to start a notebook like that myself. Like that was just such a fun addition I loved this detail so much. I will say the book reminded me of The 7 Year Slip, which is another Ashley Poston book, quite a lot. They are a bit similar. So maybe you can check out The 7 Year Slip as well. The 7 Year Slip is actually my favorite Ashley Poston book, but I picked this one just because it came out very recently. So yeah, if you want a magical romance, definitely check out Ashley Poston's books. Now, if you are in the mood for a thriller, there's one that I finished very recently and I can highly recommend it. It's called The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. It's set at a summer camp where 3 young girls disappeared, never to be seen again. And this year, the owner decided to reopen the camp and invite some of the people that attended it before. And that includes our protagonist, who was actually living at the same cabin with the girls that disappeared. So, she knew them quite intimately, especially one of them. But she was kind of close with them, and then they all disappeared and everything. I don't want to say too much because I think thrillers are most fun when you go in knowing as little as possible. But I will say that this book has crazy plot twists, and it's just such a fun summer read. If you're looking for something fast-paced with lots of twists, I can definitely recommend this book. Now, if you want something a bit more creepy and spooky and slightly paranormal, then I can recommend The Sundown Motel. I think this one enters the horror territory a little bit. Basically, this book follows a woman who investigates her aunt's disappearance that happened like many years ago, and most of the story revolves around a creepy roadside motel that is probably haunted. Actually, part ghost story, part mystery, and I loved that balance, to be honest. It's not like entirely supernatural, it's got some realism in it, so don't worry about it being too weird or outlandish. I think it was definitely like very terrifying. Like when I was reading it, I was really scared and I felt it's definitely very unsettling. So if that's something you're in the mood for, you should definitely check out The Sundown Motel. Now, if you're looking for a contemporary novel, I'd go with The Wedding People. It follows a woman who checks in to this grand beachside hotel with a plan of ending her own life. But she ends up getting surrounded by lots of people that are there for a wedding, which she didn't know was happening. But now she actually gets mistaken for one of the wedding guests, and yeah, she kind of starts mingling with the people that are there for the wedding. This book definitely deals with heavy topics. I mean, we've got a woman that is planning to end her life. That is really dark and heavy. But despite that, the book is also surprisingly very funny and hopeful. And because it all takes place at this beautiful seaside hotel, that's why I think it's a great book to pick up during the summer. If you want something very emotional, but also funny and thought-provoking at the same time. Now, if you're a fan of cozy fantasy, I think you should check out this book, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. It's about a witch who has spent most of her life basically hiding who she is until she gets invited to teach 3 young witches magic. This is basically like a warm, cozy hug in book form. And especially if you love found family stories, this book absolutely delivers that. There's magic, really lovable characters, and a cute romance. I mean, anything you might want from a cozy fantasy, I'm pretty sure you can find it in this book. Now, this book isn't necessarily summery in terms of the setting, but I still think it's a good book to pick up over the summer if you're looking for something cozy, low stakes, and just easy to get through. And I mean, fantasy books in general, I feel like they are really associated with fall, the fall season. So this could definitely be a fall read as well. But now that I think about it, I feel like I could read it during the summer, because of how cozy it is. Like if you want something really cozy and magical to make you feel good, I would definitely pick this book up. And similarly, if you want to disappear into a fairy tale like story that's, a bit darker than the previous book I talked about, maybe you should consider this book, Where the Dark Stands Still. It contains elements of Polish folklore, and I mean, as a Polish person, maybe I am a little bit biased, but I do think it's a very good book. The atmosphere is honestly what made this book so memorable. It's full of enchanted forests and magical creatures, but it's also a little bit unsettling at the same time. I know this one might not be the most obvious summer pick, but it actually takes place around the summer solstice, and the lush forest setting makes it feel incredibly vibrant and magical. So, if you love folklore-inspired fantasy, I definitely recommend picking this one up in the summer. Maybe it's not like full of action the way some fantasy books are, but it really has this dreamy, haunting atmosphere, and if that's something you are interested in, you should definitely check it out. Editing this video, I realized that I somehow forgot to include one very summery read, The Song of Achilles. So, if you're looking for something a bit more epic and tragic this summer, I definitely recommend this one. It's a beautiful Greek mythology retelling with gorgeous writing, unforgettable characters, and a sun-soaked Mediterranean atmosphere that just screams summer. It's really emotional, and I think it's one of those books that just stays with you long after you finish it. So, if you haven't picked it up yet, maybe now's the time. So, these are all my summer book recommendations. To be honest, I don't think I've read that many books that give me like strong summer vibes. So that is why I want you guys to let me know your favorite summer reads down in the comments below, so that maybe I can add them to my TBR and read them before the summer's over. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a like, and if you're interested in more bookish content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And I guess that's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!